So this bottle of Captain Morgan is like a little bit of a mystery to me. Hello and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm your host, Tammy Coxon, and I'm here today with Matt Pietrek. And Matt is better known as Rum Wonk. And Matt, why don't you tell people about yourself?
Sure, thank you. First, it's a pleasure to be here. My name again, Matt Pietrek. I like to call myself a writer, educator, consultant, jack of all trades for anything having to do with rum. Some of you may know me previously from my Cocktail Wonk website. More into rum, now my Rum Wonk website. And along the way, I wrote an 850-page love letter to rum, modern Caribbean rum. And as part of that, we ended up running a publishing company, Wonk Press. So I do those things, blog about rum, educate about rum, teach about rum, make tiki drinks, and also, among other things, work with the Caribbean Rum Producers Association, WRSPA, the West Indies Rum and Spirits Producers Association, where I'm their community envoy. So I not only get to drink lots of rum, I get to talk to the people who actually make the rum in the Caribbean.
So this bottle of Captain Morgan is like a little bit of a mystery to me. Dating the bottles is kind of part of the fun for me. It's like a little treasure hunt as I try to figure out when something could have come from. And this, I really haven't seen another bottle that looks like it anywhere online. You see this label and it's called, Captain Morgan Gold or Gold Label. This does not have those words on it. It says light and léger, so it's English and French, but it is this very pale color. It's not a white rum, the way we think of a light rum being. So it's just kind of a mystery. You got anything? You have any ideas on this one? I sent you a picture of it ahead of time.
Yeah, so when Tammy sent me the picture, I was a little baffled here because I've written quite a bit about Jamaican rum. I've looked at the history of it. I've traced the brands, and the Captain Morgan brand originated in 1944 and was long associated with Jamaican rum. But there's a fun little incident. Very few people know about this. Basically, in 1960, several of the big Jamaican rum companies got together, merged all together, and then various parts split off. And amongst them was that the Captain Morgan, as part of the split off in 1960, Captain Morgan remained with Seagram's, which is a Canadian company. And then if I remember,
Waterloo Limited on that one.
Yeah, it's a bottled in Canada. So that in and of itself is not surprising, but there's a long history between Jamaican rum and Canada. But Seagram's, the Canadian company, which essentially got bought out, got sold for parts around 2000.
So sad.
Right. Seagram retained the rights for Captain Morgan outside of Jamaica, but within Jamaica, Captain Morgan remained part of J and Ray and Nephew. So depending on where in the world you go, you're going to get different Captain Morgans. Furthermore, what's also interesting is somewhat like Bacardi would do, where they would basically make rum wherever there was a tax advantage to it. In circa 1985, Captain Morgan or Seagram's made a deal with Cerezas in Puerto Rico to make Captain Morgan rum for the Caribbean in Puerto Rico.
And was that the Spice Captain Morgan that they launched in 83?
It was just straight Cap.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really see the spice as we know it today until the Diageo sort of bought it out in 2001. But we know that the Caribbean was being made in Puerto Rico of all places. But then separately, maybe going to Europe was still Jamaican. Seagram had a long-term contract to be able to buy rum from Jamaican distiller. So you really have to know kind of where was this bottle sold, marketed, whatever, to sort of maybe even guess which one it came from. And there's nothing on that label that tells us this was made in Puerto Rico or Jamaica. The word Jamaica does not appear on that. And it's like this sort of iconic Jamaican rum brand, but there's no label on there. There's nothing that says Jamaica.
So this one I think is 1970s.
Okay.
So where would we be thinking? Do you think Jamaica?
Yeah. So yeah, if it was 1970, I would guess Jamaica. I would have guessed might have come from Long Pond. But there's another interesting twist here. There's essentially allowances where you can basically import rum from somewhere else and add up to 9% or 11% or some like a fair amount of like Canadian distillate into it.
I have seen Canadian bottles from that time that do say a blend of Canadian and Caribbean rums kind of thing. But this one it doesn't say anything about sourcing.
Yeah.
At all. What do you get on this one?
I'm not getting any of the characteristic Jamaican.
Okay.
And if you told me this was a 3 or 4 year Puerto Rican rum, I would absolutely believe it.
Yeah, I mean, this was great. So a lot of times the caps are really hard to get off. This came right off, yet I didn't have any evaporation. So this is like the perfect combination. I want all my bottles to be like this. But it was very aromatic. As soon as I took the lid off, I could smell it. I mean, a lot of volatiles. Almost like, to me, like a lemony note, like a citrusy kind of a character.
Yeah, I mean, I get like after some of that ethyl acetate, it's going to sound weird, but like a hairspray, there's a little bit of like the hairspray. And then beneath that is some of like the vanilla oakiness, which is what you get from a cask.
It's very light in color. Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I don't think it's spiced. Yeah, there's no spiciness to it. It's straight ahead. Yeah, like if you said
tastes better than I thought it would from the ethyl acetate.
Okay,
right? It doesn't taste like hairspray.
Yeah, exactly. It's an aromatic we get on our nose. We don't really get on the palate, but yeah,
pretty nice actually. But not super funky.
Yeah, not at all. I don't get any. This could be made in Jamaica. Like at that point in time, like they had the ability to make very light rums.
Mm-hmm.
They had column stills. They could absolutely, if you said, make us a rum that's in the style Puerto Rican or something like that, make a Spanish heritage style, they can absolutely do that. They have the stills, they have the wood, they can absolutely do that. There's no long fermentation, there's no banana, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing in here.
What? Nothing. Just nothing in here. Are you getting anything? What would you say? Do you have any notes on this one?
I think most of the flavors, I think, coming from the aging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Not from. And you had put out a really interesting grid recently that was talking about how rum, you can think of it as like the fermentation and the age and the source material.
Yeah, exactly.
And that all the rums.
Yeah, the flavors of a rum can come from fermentation. Fermentation can be very light, in which case, rum might taste like a vodka. It'd be very light fermentation. If you do a longer fermentation, it can be very weird, funky, wonderful. There's canonical Jamaican rum flavors. But then those flavors, and then you decide, am I going to add in aging flavors or not? You can make it unaged, or you can age it. And then sometimes like the rum gets blended with things. Maybe you put it in a sherry cask or something like that, and then it picks up those flavors. So the flavors of rums, like every rum is its own sort of sound mixing board of different things coming into it. And this is like, for me, this tastes very straightforward, straight ahead, light column distillate, aged for a relatively little amount of time, and proof down. And does it say what the strength is on it?
40%. I mean, almost everything sold in Canada is 40%.
Exactly.
I think it's like a tax thing.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep. So we don't know.
Exactly. So you brought a little something here. Yeah. Very similar color.
Yeah. So this is an unusual one, and I can show you a picture later. I can send you a picture if you want to include it here. But earlier I mentioned that in Jamaica, only on the island of Jamaica, Ray and Nephew continues to own the Captain Morgan name and make their own version of Captain Morgan on the island. And I won't. Let's taste it. Let's taste it first. Let's taste it first.
See what you would have been looking for if we thought this might be Jamaican. Is this sort of like what some of the flavors we might have been looking for?
Okay. There we go.
See, and that's interesting because it's not hitting me in the face like with the aroma. This just like, I mean, it was mostly like an alcohol smell or the ethyl acetate smell, right? But this is like I'm having to work a lot harder to get the nose, where this just straight out of the bottle was so there, which is unusual because usually these little bottles, they take a while to kind of come up.
You open up.
Yeah.
It's a little more there. It's not like I wouldn't myself would not say that's Jamaican rum, but it's there. It's got more going on there.
And it's what you were saying. It's about the fermentation, right? And so here, like, this is all just the wood. There's not not getting this fermentation flavors, and that's what was really interesting to me about that chart. Is we always think about, is it sugarcane or is it molasses? How long has it been aged?
Right.
What kind of still? But this idea that there are differences in the fermentation part, and you can taste some of that.
Exactly.
Just funkier, that fermented character from anything.
And now in Jamaica, this is an inexpensive bottle. This is not going head to head with Appleton 12 or anything like that. It's a young rum. Maybe it's probably, I'm assuming it's mostly column. There may be a little touch of pot still in there. I don't know for sure, but if it's not as aromatic as that,
but more flavorful.
But it's more flavorful
for sure.
So yeah, but again, it's not a Worthy Park. It's not a Hampton Estate type of rum.
Well, and rum has come such a long way, right? At the time Captain Morgan is putting this out, Myers is already going downhill from its peak of being
we
this
were
really
sort of in
funky,
that dark age,
right? And we were entering the dark ages where all people wanted was white spirits, and this was probably like too dark for some people to mix.
There's actually
right?
There was an article I like to show people. I think it was in 1968 in the London newspaper, and it's essentially going like, now that all the rums are becoming essentially neutral spirits, which is a great thing. You're like, this was that ideal of like, oh, these funky flavors and smoky dimmer. We don't want that. We want light and sure. Like even the Jamaican rum for like, it's a light rum. It does not linger on the breath type of thing.
Like the Smirnoff, it leaves you breathless.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that was the dark ages. And thank goodness, people like Dave Wonderich and people like that basically you're like, no, there was good stuff before. Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back. Well, I am glad to be living in the era of bring it back. But it is fun to have this little peek at sort of what people were drinking when my grandmother was collecting these bottles. Well, thank you for giving me a little more insight into this one. And it was surprising. I don't know what I expected, but I don't think it was that big nose. So there was something there.
I mean, it was interesting to me. Just like I have tasted some older rum, but it's kind of good to just and not over romanticize what it was. Like, let's go taste it. How was it?
Yeah.
Evaluate it, with our modern palate.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, where can people find you?
You can find me at my website, Rum Wonk, www.rumwonk.com. You can find our books, including Modern Caribbean Rum and Minimalist Tiki, and a couple others that we publish on wonkpress.com. And Rum Wonk and Cocktail Wonk on Instagram, Facebook.
We'll put all those in the show notes so you guys can find them. And you can find me, of course, at mytinybottles.com. And you can find me at mytinybottles on Facebook and Instagram, and at TammyLC on Blue Sky. You can check out my Patreon. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a share. Share this episode with a rum-loving fan of yours. Love to hear from you. And if you have any non-spiced OG Captain Morgan thoughts to share, Matt, thank you.
Sure.
Cheers.